Good morning and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day. Okay, so pick one word, just one, to describe your life right now. I know a lot of people who would simply use the word sucks, but let's keep this as positive as we can, shall we? Hold that word in your head for a moment, not the word sucks, but the word that you came up with. Some possibilities I assume people might use are hard, or great, wonderful, challenging, blessed, interesting, fiasco, or maybe even fantastic. Maybe one of those was your choice, or you have a unique word. Feel free to post it on the Motivational Devotional Facebook feed under this podcast's post, and we can talk about those words. I'm wondering if by any chance anyone listening to or reading this chose the word thriving. Have you ever thought of your life as thriving? I don't think it's a word we commonly use today, especially if someone asks you how your life is or how things are going. Maybe after listening to this, when someone asks you later, "Hey, how's it going?" you might reply, "Thriving, thanks for asking." I can almost guarantee that will leave them speechless, and they'll just stare at you nodding their head and maybe say, "Okay then." But listen, if you didn't choose that word a minute ago, why not? Isn't your life thriving? Well, no, in fact it isn't, and I don't know anybody who is, you might say. Well, let me help you a little bit with that. If you are able to make a choice today of what you want to eat instead of what someone else tells you to eat, and if you have decent or even really nice clothes to wear, and you have reliable transportation, and you have a means of income that can at least cover your basic needs, then how is that not thriving? If thriving means to you that you have money to burn and tons of casual time, then I'll ask you to toss out that misconception right now. That might be evidence of some people thriving, but there are plenty of people with those circumstances who are also miserable. Thriving is a choice. Now, surviving is also a choice to not thrive and to let the status quo continue to deteriorate into squalor. You can drive through some areas where there is blight. Most of the buildings are closed and boarded up, and there is a palpable feeling of depression and hopelessness if you go through such an area. You can drive through other areas, maybe even within a half mile of those blighted areas, that feel vibrant, growing, and thriving. Buildings are new. Construction is everywhere. There is burgeoning growth. Both of these kinds of areas exist in our country right now, even less than a mile of each other. What is the difference? I had an uncle who built an extremely successful father-son business with my cousin in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas since the 1980s. The economy had been up and down a lot, and I heard him say to a couple of my other uncles during a family gathering about 10 years ago, during a time that our nation's economy was struggling, that a down economy means that working harder will really pay off. He didn't let the economy determine his personal economy. He just got busier. He worked harder. He looked for more opportunities so that he and his business and his family would continue to thrive. He knew that thriving was a choice, and if you choose thriving, you don't have to let the world make the choice of surviving for you. His wisdom shows the difference between the two areas I just described. In other words, he always put it on himself to be the difference and succeed amid other people waiting for things to change. Intent with expectancy yields assurance. If we hope without taking ownership of the results we want, we won't see any fruit. God gives us the eyes to see what doesn't yet exist, but the universe doesn't do it for us. We have faith, but the assurance that our efforts will pay off comes from the confidence in our own abilities. That is where we thrive. I realized years and years ago that if I want life to be thriving, I have to pay less attention to how things are and more attention to what I am choosing to think, choosing to do, and choosing to see. I've learned to be what isn't yet, instead of complaining about how things are. That is the difference between surviving and thriving, and it is the difference in our own lives between happiness and misery. We hope with a realized sense of expectancy, of assurance. What we have faith in is becoming real on the outside because it's already real in our thinking and doing right now, because we understand that all of creation is conspiring in our favor. Trust that the universe always has your back and intends for you to thrive. The 17th century philosopher Voltaire once wrote, "Faith consists in believing when it is beyond the power of reason to believe." Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @Threefold-Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow. Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.